Nice.
Oh, but it's backwards.
Not over here. It's not.
Uh-oh, guess
All right,
what
so
day it is? Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Anybody? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Let's guess what today is.
It's hump day.
Hump day, hump day, hump day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Lifting the Veil with myself and my Christian brother, Franz. How you doing this week, Franz?
I'm doing well, thank you. How you doing?
Doing well myself. Good to have you back on.
Good to be here as always, my friend. Always good to
Awesome.
see you.
For sure, for sure. What do you got on the agenda for this evening?
I got a little rabbit hole as usual.
We do love those rabbit holes.
I find myself running down them. So, all right. So I'm gonna. I got a little bit of slides in the presentation. I might zip out of them and go to a couple of sites I have up. But we might go back and forth. And you were telling me that Google has changed their video calls.
Oh yeah. So as a matter of fact, I'll just give that update and I'll put it in here in the chat box. So just a heads up, everybody who's watching. Me and Franz use Google Meet to present this show, and as I was talking to my friend in Kentucky the other night, I came to realize that Google has changed its format. They're trying to get you to pay for an account. So after an hour, they cut you off. They did give us a warning at 45 minutes. So just a heads up that if we get cut off, don't go away, because I'm going to instantly send Franz. We're going to open up another meeting and get right back at it. It'll only take about 30 seconds to complete that process. So it won't be down very long, but this is the way we have to do it, unless we want to try to figure out another streaming service. But it was short notice, so we decided to just go with this for this week. So I just want to give you a heads up on that, and I will type it into the chat box right now. So yeah, bring us what you got, my friend.
All right, cool. Yes, with that said, so we'll try, not to rush and be, short or anything, but maybe we can get it done. If not, like Jay said, we'll log right out and come right back. So, like I said, I have some slides, but I wanted to start off with a little personal story, or started off with something personal about me in my life, and that has happened since the last time I was here. So long story short, we'll make this quick. I was friends with somebody through school. I had a stepfather who was a martial artist, Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai. He was a multiple degree black belt. And growing up, I knew him very well. And we're all a bunch of scrappers, basically. And we all got together to always train and spar. But long story short, fast forward in time, in time when I was alone and found myself depressed and really wanting to stay away from substance abuses. So I got back into it with this gentleman, and like I said, he was like a multiple degree black belt in different martial arts, and it helped me quite a bit. All the things that go with it. meditating, control mind, control your body. But no matter how much I was into it, I was training myself and going to train with this gentleman 3-4 times a day or a week, excuse me. So we fell apart. I had my life with my wife and my kids, and I didn't have time to go 5 times a week. He wound up ironically moving about a third of a mile down the road from me, and we'd see each other once in a while in passing. It was cool. But he was battling demons, and they discovered him in his house October 30th. And he did the worst sin, suicide. Basically, it's horrible to think, somebody
That
so
was
strong.
this year?
Last month.
Yeah, dang, dude, that stinks.
Yes, yeah. And it was, I guess I was in shock for a day or two, just because I think what hit me the hardest was I can't leave my house and go anywhere without driving by his. And he was there for a few weeks before they discovered him.
Oh,
and
man.
just just the thought of that. But it's not. I'm not saying this to poor me. It's starting off my slideshow. I'm getting there. It was hard, but being there myself, I just wanted to say that you're not alone. If you ever have those thoughts, or you have somebody you've known in your life, whether how close you are or not, and they've done that, it's the worst sin. You're robbing yourself of salvation. It's the saddest thing is another God's child was lost, and it made me realize how much good it all the training and all that did for me. I still felt there was something missing, and it makes me think of the scripture where it tells you not to lean into your own understanding, because no matter how many karate chops or kung fu kicks or black belt you get, that's all your personal body, and your personal body does go away. You can't rely on that solely.
Yeah.
And it made me grateful that I did still feel empty, and I continued to search, even though I took a lot of those things I learned and carry them with me. But that it doesn't replace what you're missing if you don't have the Holy Spirit, if you don't ask for that help, and leading into, if you do have those thoughts or those feelings, one thing to remember is, yes, you hear you're not alone, but you're not alone. And it's not an original thought. That's not who you are, and it's not who God made you to be. Okay.
True that, yeah.
God doesn't put a thought in your head and make it stay there in condemnation. So it's to me, it's a precursor, a preset, it's a mindset and a way of thinking, a thought process construct that has been preset into you, that we've picked up that feeling of failure, and there's no other choice. It's been put into you. That's not natural of God's.
No, that's a weapon of the enemy, man.
It sure is. And then when you start having those thoughts, there's the demonic entities ready to just fuel it, and that negative energy that just overwhelms you feeds them fueling those thoughts. Okay. So where I'm going is, I want to prove to you and show to you how you're a product of the system. Okay, production, produce, product are all the same words, but they seem to be absorbed into your thought process remarkably different from each other. Like you go to the grocery store, there's the produce section, right? It is a
Yeah.
product, but it's produce. And you think biological vegetable, and you go to a manufacturing facility and you think of production and their production as a product. And then those two differ from being a product of your environment or a product of the system.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to show you how. I'm going to go through a little rabbit hole of history lesson here. Okay,
Let's do it.
Prussian. Okay, the Prussian Empire, the Prussian dynasty. We know it now as Germany, but it was Prussia for a long, long time. Okay, so the Prussians started the public education system. And what were the goals of the Prussian education system? It was aimed to control the Polish population and indoctrinate children with imperial German nationalism. Okay, so Prussia started in what we know as Germany now, but it continued to grow its army and be very well trained and continue to expand. And once they invaded Poland and took over Poland, the older generation was so set in their Polish heritage, their Polish, ancestry, where they came from. And Prussian philosophers created, a way of how we can do this. So they created their public education system and did it so well that within one generation, they had nationalists ready to fight in their army. Right? The Prussian education system is the model for education in many modern nations. Right? So when they did this, this was the early 1800s. The short little French guy, what was his name?
Napoleon?
Napoleon. I was saying it wrong, like the ice cream. Napoleon. All right. So Napoleon and the Napoleonic Wars were the little French guy going and defeating the Prussian dynasty, the Prussian Empire.
I just want to say I only know that because of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, right, that's right.
Because that's what he called the short little French dude.
He did too.
So, sorry, I just had to say that, man.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Prussians also decided, all right, well, how can we make better soldiers out of our civilians? Because the short little French dude made a lot of his army just think for themselves and not continue on with their orders. So they created the education system. And this education system worked so well, it spread across many nations. It is essentially a model of mandatory education because they made it a law for you to have to go, in which all members of a country must attend school up to a certain level. The Prussian education system aimed to control the Polish population and indoctrinate children with imperial German nationalism. So you get a law to tell you have to go to school, right? And you pledge allegiance. You
to the flag.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah. As you're talking, I'm like, man, I could totally see the U.S. in this stuff, man.
yes, absolutely. So they're a machine complex, creating military, training military. They need to follow orders. They need to be brave, right? There was a king of Prussia. What was his name? I can't think of his name, but he was one of the first big kings in building this empire, this militant empire, and he was trying to genetically modify, in a sense, his own army of really tall, 6'2" or higher, like Navy SEALs, the top of the top. Right?
Right, big dudes, yeah.
It was Frederick. All right, so Frederick laid the basic foundations of what would eventually become the Prussian primary education system. And this was in 1763. He issued a decree to the first Prussian general school, the School of Law, based on principles developed by Johann Julius Hecker. In 1748, Hecker had founded the first teachers' seminary in Prussia. So he created, secondary college to teach teachers to teach in the public education
They're
system.
like, here, let us propagandize you so that you can properly propagandize the children.
Right? And they did it in such a way. They did it in such a way. These teachers were following orders, not realizing what they were doing. You know what I mean? They were so heavily into it, they didn't realize how much they were conditioning.
Yeah.
So spread of the Prussian education system to other countries. Austria made Prussian education system theirs. American educators were fascinated by the German educational trends, and in 1818, John Griscom gave a favorable report of Prussian education. English translations were made of French philosopher Victor Cousin's work, Report on the State of Public Education in Prussia. Calvin E. Stowe, Henry Barnard, Horace Mann, George Bancroft, and Joseph Cogswell all had vigorous interests in the education system. In 1843, Horace Mann traveled to Germany to investigate how the educational process worked. Upon his return to the United States, he lobbied heavily to have the Prussian model adopted. Excuse me. Horace Mann was largely responsible for the introduction of compulsory public education, Prussian style, in the United States. In 1852, he supported Governor Edward Everett in the decision to adopt the Prussian education system in Massachusetts, which spread into New York. But first it was Massachusetts. And New York, in Canada, Michigan, but it was the basic beginning of the public education system here. And from this is depiction of a Prussian philosopher's writings about the Prussian education system. What did I say about producing a product, right?
Production line, yeah.
So you're going in as a free-willed, free thinker, creative, intelligent, ready to think outside the box. And then what does it produce? An obedient factory worker or military.
This is the same thing that they do in the seminary schools, man. People go in on fire for God and come out brainwashed and doing man's work.
Yeah, and one of the mottos, the early Prussians was, work shall set you free.
Yeah.
So that was, you're going into a school system that teaches you that work shall set you free, not God, not the Lord of Lords.
Right.
Working hard for who? For them.
40 hours a week, 60 hours a week.
So here, this is Johann Fichte, and this is a book he wrote. This is the Prussian philosopher who started and helped create the Prussian education system. This book he wrote addresses to the German nation, and it's all about education, the education system. Here's a few quotes from him. The schools must fashion the person and fashion him in such a way that he simply cannot will otherwise than what you wish him to will.
Man,
So,
that's pretty deep.
right? He's a philosopher, and he's telling, uh, a dynasty that is the empire of Prussia how to take the free will, basically.
Yeah.
And here's another quote: "Education should aim at destroying free will, so that after pupils are thus schooled, they will be incapable throughout the rest of their lives of thinking or acting otherwise than as their schoolmasters would have wished."
Wow.
So
Such a
you're being,
dark plan.
yeah, and every education system is modeled after this. They're producing factory workers, obedient factory workers, and obedient loyalists, national loyalists to enter in their military.
Yeah.
So William von Humboldt, he's a German, 1767. He's a Prussian philosopher, linguist, government functionary, diplomat, and founder of the Humboldt University of Berlin, which they named after him in 1949. So this guy, he created the college. He created colleges. He's the one that started it. Humboldt's educational ideal developed around two central concepts of public education: the concept of autonomous individual and the concept of world citizenship. The university should be a place where autonomous individuals and world citizens are produced at one or more specifically produced themselves. William von Humboldt was as much the founding spirit of the modern university in the United States as in Germany.
Yeah, man. I always watch these well, I don't always, but sometimes I watch these clips of people talking to college kids and just asking them, questions about the world and what's going on and what they think. They all give the same robotic, brainwashed answers, and none of them can tell you why they think what they think.
No, they don't know. And if they feel like you're challenging them, they resort to anger and separating themselves like they're a better class.
You're a racist. Yeah, that's like their go-to line. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Why are you asking me questions? You're racist. Okay.
all right, so here's a university, a college, school. This is late 1700s, early 1800s. This is in Germany. And it looks like the basic model for all colleges and public schools.
I was gonna say, I think we got buildings around here that look like that too for the college.
The elementary school I went to in a little town in Vermont, that was built in 1911, and it looks quite a bit like. I mean, it's not as huge, but it's a red brick building. So, quick, who studied at the Humboldt University in Prussia? Well, how about the founders of Marxist theory, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels? They attended the university.
Yikes.
Hendrik Heine, novelist Alfred Doblin, founder of structuralism. Ferdinand, German unifier Otto von Bismarck, Communist Party German founder Karl Liebknecht, and African American pan activists WEB. So, some of those names are well known, some of them are not, but they're all communists, socialists,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Marxists. Okay,
Yeah.
and all of this paved the way for what we were conditioned to believe was, the little mustache guy, that he did all this, right?
Oh yeah.
So Prussia, as a huge country, an empire, is controlled by a royal family, and the House of Hohenzollern. Let me try again. I'm German. I can't barely read half of these words. Hohenzollern. Ollen. Hohenzollern.
Hohenzollern. Hohenzollern. Did I do that good? You just gotta yell it. Oh, man.
So this dynasty it says here they're founded before 1061. So they're a fairly old dynasty. You know? And they're Germany and Prussia. They're all Prince Carl. Whoops. Sorry, bounce around here a little.
That's fine, man.
It's just a list of the rulers, the family rulers. You know, and it's like dynasties. They keep it in the family. The family is what it is. So it wasn't just a government. It was actually a dynasty, a family ruling. They're prominent in European history, chiefly as the ruling house of Brandenburg, Prussia, from 1415 to 1918, and of Imperial Germany, 1871 to 1918. So they were in power for a long time, militarized and brainwashing for a long time.
Doesn't that make you wonder, dude? Like, okay, they were doing that for 500 years, yet all of a sudden now they're not doing it. Right? Like, they're in the shadows now, man. They went into the shadows. They're still pulling the strings, though. They're like the marionette puppeteer up there. Like,
absolutely. You know, so I think that we've evolved or changed or differed from that is part of becoming a product of their system. And that was like what I said about how, you know, if you feel like you're a failure because you haven't reached the American dream, you haven't become successful, you didn't go to college and get the higher paying job, because it's all a mind construct. It's all a thought process, because it's a system that's set up for you to fail. It's a system of failure. God didn't create you a failure.
right.
That's the construct that produced you to think these things.
Dude, that castle's huge, man. That's a star fort.
That's a star fort and their castle.
Yeah.
And I picked this angle because we talk a lot about roads and how when you're driving on them, the shapes you create and extending your senses, you become car man, right?
Yeah.
So you're coming up the road around the castle, get to the top of the mountain, and you go through a tunnel, creates a big circle, go back through a tunnel and over your own path, and does it again.
Yeah.
Like a figure eight.
And again, yeah, and then you can go up a little further. Yeah, dude. You know what? Talking about that, you know, when the Bible's talking about separating the sheeps from the goats, he says, "I'll put all the goats on the left-hand side and put all the sheep on the right." Right? And then I started thinking about we drive on the left side of our cars, right?
Right.
And NASCAR always turns left. I just started like content. This is like a new process I'm thinking about. Like, but I'm like, cause when I get in my car, like it's like I'm someone else.
No, and
Like-
and I've been saying that because you really are. You become car man. You know,
Yeah,
you're no longer just yourself.
it's like I try to stay chill, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get upset at anybody this time. And then like someone will pull out in front of me. You know, they'll wait till I get to them. Nobody in front of me for like ever. They're sitting there for like a minute, and they'll wait till I get to them, and they'll pull out in front of me and go like 5 miles under the speed limit. You know, and then I'll be like,
No.
dude, seriously? And then I'll be like, oh wait, I gotta stay calm. Whoops. Like,
Honestly, I battle with that too. I take the highway, at 5 in the morning, 4:55 in the morning, and there'll be a straightaway, and I'm only doing 5, maybe 10 over the speed limit, just maintaining my chill space, going to work, and I can see somebody coming from the distance in my rear view. I'm like, all right, so he's gaining on me. He's going quite fast, but then they'll get 10 feet behind you and do your speed.
yeah.
It's not your fault. It's not, God didn't make you that way. So you're becoming back into the the thought process that was produced it's a preset, and that's part of what happens when you extend your senses. It's kind of like meditating and scrying and trying to communicate with a ghost. You're basically doing the same thing, just by driving your car and all the shapes you make driving it.
Yeah, man, there's definitely something spiritual about vehicles, man.
So this is Horace Mann. He's a former United States representative. You heard me just mention his name. He's an American educational reformer, slavery abolitionist, and
Abolitionist. Yeah.
Abolition. That's it. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man.
And he's known for his commitment to promoting public education. He's also known as the father of American education.
Ouch.
Yes. So this guy, he traveled to Germany. He went with other educators to travel to Germany. He's the one that came back and lobbied very heavily for the American government to adopt the Prussian education system. The exact same thing. He's the father of it. He's the one that brought that education system to our country. While employed by the Massachusetts Board of Education, he traveled to Germany and studied the Prussian education system, which itself had been developed as means to subdue and control populations which the Prussian army had recently invaded. Prussian teachers were literal military occupiers whose job was both to teach Imperial German nationalism and to remove Polish identity and language. The totalitarian regime also did not conceal its motives in the general nature of the new education. Yeah. This is the same saying from Fichte, the Prussian philosopher. I'm not going to read it again, but it just says destroying the free will.
Yeah, boy, they totally do, man.
They really do. And Edward Everett, he played part of the, he was an educator, a pastor, an educator, a Unitarian, the diplomat, and he was the governor, I think, of Massachusetts, and a U.S. representative and U.S. senator. He was the 15th governor of Massachusetts and minister to Great Britain. He taught at Harvard University, but at this time, when they were creating the universities under the Prussian education system, the educators that were hired and staffed in all of the colleges in America got their PhD in Prussia, in the Prussian education system. So by 1900, if you went to Yale, you went to Harvard, you were being taught by a Prussian educated teacher.
Dude, so first they go over there and bring this mindset here. And then they go over there and bring the actual Germans here.
Correct.
Right? Operation Paperclip. They start NASA, the CIA, the NSA, the
Absolutely.
FBI. Like,
I was waiting for you to say that because yes, and we accept the Operation Paperclip. Like, no way, they totally did. You're right, but it was nothing new.
Yeah, that's why our government seems like they're a bunch of Nazis. Because they totally are.
Absolutely. And um, they're Prussian.
Yeah,
they're,
totally.
they were
Yeah.
Prussians for few hundred years before we ever started coming up with using the name Germany. And you would think, because all of these people who went over there studied and brought it back and lobbied to have it, that the General Education Board was government, right? You think the education system, it's governmentally funded, but the General Education Board is a private organization which was used primarily to support higher education and medical schools in the United States. It was to help rural white and black schools in the South, as well as modernize farming practices in the South. Do you know who Horace Mann's sister was? Because she was the one that helped set up the farming schooling system for the South. Her name is Mary Tyler Peabody. His own sister played part of that, which she also was involved in the Civil War and helping, the farming tech school system start up in the South.
Yeah, she looks just like him.
Example in the Michigan Constitution of 1835, which fully embraced the Prussian system by introducing a range of primary schools, secondary schools, and the University of Michigan itself, all administered by the state and supported with tax-based funding. So not only did it condition you to be a nationalist, and a obedient factory worker, but it also conditioned you to think it was such a great thing, and then every generation should do it. And it's the law, so let's keep paying our taxes so we can fund this.
Right, because now the parents are brainwashed from going through the system. So now they're like, oh, I definitely got to put my kid through school. Like, I went to school. I want them to go to school. That's what I'm always telling people,
Right.
like, schools don't teach you how to think. They teach you what to think. Especially here, dude, when you pledge your allegiance to the flag, that's like one of the images of the beast, man. You're
right.
pledging your allegiance to the beast.
You're a nationalist, right?
Yeah.
You
Like
know,
you're
and
already
it's like-
under the spell.
Now think about how many generations has it been? One or two generations? I remember a pledging allegiance, right? And then there was this huge, social conflict of, I can't believe the schools don't do the Pledge of Allegiance no more.
Right. Yeah.
Now look at the youth now, and how, like you said, they'll be asked a question about the country, and they can't tell you how many stripes are on the flag. They're
I can't tell you how many states there are.
I'm like,
We're like
and I'm not-
42? Yeah, that's right.
So, all right. There was no system of public education. We simply didn't know much about how children learned or how they built the education system that supported good learning. Prussia provided an established, handy, and debatable, effective model. Today's educational system rests squarely on this foundation.
Yeah.
And that was published October 24th, 2019. It's just a couple of proofs that our whole school system was based off that model. The Education Board was a private organization which was used primarily to support higher education, medical schools in the United States to help the white, black in the South, as well as modernize farming practices. American agriculture, linking research to state agricultural experiment stations and actual practice in the field. So like, what was it, FFA or something like that? I went to a vocational school, and then they had the Future Farmers of America Association. That's the same thing, just instead of being a factory worker or a military, you're being conditioned to farm and be obedient farmer. So General Education Board was created in 1902 after John D. Rockefeller donated an initial $1 million to its cause, which the Rockefeller family would eventually give over $180 million to fund the General Education Board. There's a friend of Rockefeller, Frederick Taylor Gates. He's the country school of tomorrow. Young and old will be taught in practical ways to make rural life beautiful, intelligent, fruitful, and recreate healthful and joyous. So 1934, the board was making grants. Where did they meet? They met at John's townhouse in Manhattan in 1902 to create the General Education Board. So he created, with other businessmen, a school system based off the Prussian education system to create factory workers.
Yeah, and back in the day, they used to have kids in the factories.
They would. Right?
Yeah.
They would.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, if you were an outcast, you were either rewarded with good grades and the ability to sign up and sign a loan to go to college, or you were going to be a factory worker. And the punishment back then wasn't, vocational school or the super's office or a GED. Just get out of here, go straight to the factory.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do it at such a young age, we don't need to condition you too much more.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a question down there. It says, I wonder if a Bill G is related to the Fred G. So when I looked into it a little bit, what was shoved in my face first were the amazingly truthful fact-checking websites that pop up automatically and don't allow you to search anywhere else other than saying he is not the grandson. False. So with that said, I would say he'd have to be, because all they said was he's not the grandson. But that name is pretty predominant. It's kind of funny. So.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind what Gates means. Like, right? It's a portal.
100%.
It's a opening from one place to another. So it's a good name to have if you are someone that brings things into this world that we're not in it, or bring things to new areas that we're not in them. Like, for sure. That's definitely what the Billy Goat does. Right? I bet you Billy Goat's Gruff, that's about Bill, right? Remember that show, 3 Billy Goat's Gruff or whatever? That story? Not a show, a story.
No, I think it was a story. But
was that the one with the troll under the bridge? Man, I can't remember. I feel like they were going over to try to eat some grass. I feel like that might be right. I don't know, though. Who knows? What do we got here?
All right, so I got a few pictures, and I'm going to go back and forth. But, it was our school system, right? How young are you when you go to school? 5, 6, right?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
And that was our thought process. It was our idea. We're going to pay taxes to do that. But then you're taken away from your family, and you're spent in this factory, this machine, and you're never learning family values. You're never learning family values from your own family, right?
Especially now, yeah.
And if you think thoughts of I'm a failure are not part of this, are not presets that are programmed into you, just pay attention to these pictures, okay? Just think about, this is a high school.
Yeah.
This is a prison.
Been to both of those things.
Me too.
Yeah.
But they're very similar, because when you're in high school, right, you have to ask to get a drink of water. You have to ask to stand up. You have to ask to go to the bathroom. You don't think outside the box and present a question. You sit there quietly. You listen to what you're told, and then you're tested on how much you remember, not your actual intelligence. You are being
Right.
set up by walking down this hallway to accept this.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. Because
High
if you
school.
don't like the high school, they usually end up in jail.
Yeah. Because you're not going to be an obedient factory worker or,
No. That's
following.
because the people that can think don't want to be at high school.
No. Because, they put labels on you if you are a free thinker.
Right.
You have ADHD. You're a hyper. You can't focus. I can't focus on your BS, your lies. I can't tell you why it's a lie, but I can tell you I'm not absorbing it.
It's like the only thing that makes any sense in the school is math.
Well, that's why
That's
does
it.
why does every generation learn 9 different paths to come to the straight answer?
Yeah.
How come I do a math equation different than my mom did? Why
Right.
does
And then,
my daughter?
that's what I was saying. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, my daughter's goes, "We got new math." I'm like, "New math?
I know. I'm like, how do you get new math?
What's wrong with the old math? What is it with a calculator? I mean, what's the new math?"
Right? So now, you every generation, it gets taught in a different way. So there's a separation. We're not going to agree on the answer of a math equation because we're going to be like, you did it wrong. No, you're old.
Yeah.
So
All
here we
part
are.
of a diabolical plan to turn the kids against the parents, man.
It really is.
Create separation.
And this is a high school, like a lounge, common area, and then you have the office that overlooks everybody. Right?
Dude,
Little
that's
water
a pretty
fountain.
fancy high school, bro.
Yeah. Some of these high schools are, pretty well
I don't think I'd
established.
want to be in that little wood room, though. I would just feel like, when is this thing gonna fall? I just sit in there waiting for it to fall.
So here's your common area, and here's your common area in prison.
Yeah, sure
get
is.
Your
Dang,
water
they got
fountain
nice
down.
little comfy chairs.
Oh yeah, and the TV. Yeah.
Yeah, prison island. They just the whole chair, the whole table was metal. The chairs all metal. Yeah, we didn't have any of those nice things.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm so glad I'm not there anymore, man. That was a long time ago.
This is another main hallway of a high school.
Dude, that looks like shoe. Tell me you're gonna show me shoe right now. Yeah. Oh
Close enough.
man. Yeah.
And this is a prison. Yeah. So many similarities. So many. And you think, well, I did well. I got really good grades in school. And then because of that, I was able to get a college loan to go to a good college. Right? So here's a college common room. Still not much different, even though you're being conditioned to think you're better than the undereducated people. We were so conditioned. Just think about this. What is synonymous with the word education? College.
Yeah.
You
Gotta get an
hear
adult education. Yeah.
I got an education. I went to college. Like, okay, but we all got the same. You went to college to think you're better than you, and you were convinced that if I go into hundreds of $1,000s of debt, I'll never be able to pay back in my entire life. I'll get the best job out there. But
Right.
the system is created for failure. All right. You think these billion-dollar companies absolutely need 20 more computer techs from Yale and Harvard? No, they don't. But what they do is buy them all so they're not out in the competition. It's exactly why you see Google employees saying, "Oh, I get to roam around on my little hoverboard and go to the 9 different restaurants and not really do anything because they only bought me so there isn't competition."
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I was just thinking about college the other day. I'm like, man, these people. Or I was watching this show. Okay. So, and this is I mean, yes, it was a show, but this stuff really happens. It's like this girl she had dropped out of college. She was living with her parents again. They wanted her to get a job. So she found this job that she really liked, but she could only intern. So she wanted to intern for free, right? But in order to intern, she had to go to college. So she went and asked her parents for 20 grand so she could intern and work for free. Like, dude, you just paid $20,000 so that you can work for free.
Yeah.
What is going on in your brains?
It's like,
Like,
and, you know,
there is a massive disconnect, bro.
there is a huge disconnect because there's an astronomical percentage, like 60 to 70% of college graduates from Ivy League colleges that spend 400, 500, 600 to go there, and they never get a job in their field, or it is the greatest conditioning system, because not only are you thinking it's the law, I have to go to public school. Maybe if I do very well there, I can get, accepted into a really good college. And the whole time your taxes are paying for that. And then you sign up for a loan that you will never be able to pay back.
Right.
To never get a job in the field you want that you paid all that money for. It's evil, but it's almost semi-ingenious, because the whole time you're paying them to do that to you, you never get anything you've been conditioned to think you're going to get.
Right, and people in this country think that slavery was abolished. It's like, they
it's
mastered it, bro.
No, they got better at it, because at the end of the day, slaves didn't pay their owners, dude.
Yeah, exactly, dude. They've mastered slavery. They didn't abolish it. They mastered it, bro. They got us thinking we're free. People are like, where's this free? I said, stop paying taxes. We'll see how long you're free for. You stop paying the master, and we'll see what happens to you.
So this is another common room in a college, little cafeteria, eatery, good place to sit.
Yeah.
Here's your dorm in your college. Nice window, a desk, and a bunk. Here's a prison dorm. You got your little desk, your bunk. Hey,
yeah.
Just saying.
Dang, they got porcelain? I'm like, yeah, those guys are living it up, man. Oh, man.
The whole point is the similarities in these places. So if you do go to college, you grade well, you get accepted, you sign the loan. It was what was it? The government, the National Education Act. I think it was 58, right? That, in the name of national security, because it's National Security Education Act, that anybody can go into the banking system and get a loan for $500,000 for an education. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you too, no problem. There was no more any rules to it, just free for all. You wonder why the system is collapsing around us, right? So if you do well, you grade well, you get accepted, and you do get an office job, here's the main lobby of your office.
Yeah.
It's sleek. It's a
you
little
just
free
look at
because
the
it's
same
less
stuff all
bars.
the time.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Right? And then you get to your little cubicle, your little cell.
Oh my goodness,
And there's
dude! I would
always
go bananas
above you or watching you, right? Here, you gotta ask to go to the bathroom. You gotta sit
There's
down.
the yeah. You got the prison guard up there.
You
Yeah,
know,
what's
these
Betty
guys,
doing? She looks
they're
like she's
all
got her
smile.
computers on idle.
I'm
Yeah,
better than all those high school guys that didn't graduate college. Look at me. I got my good job.
yeah.
Mm.
Man, I would go nuts. I'm sorry, but I couldn't do that. Sit in one of those things. That's why I like painting. You get to be outside when it's nice out. You get to be inside when it's not. It's like, that's the way to go, man. I like to be outdoors.
Yeah, I like my freedom machine shop.
Yeah,
Because here I am
yeah,
talking about it, and what I pay my bills being an obedient factory worker, dude.
yeah. That's what we all do, bro. My
And,
factory's
and
just
that's my point.
outside.
Because now I'm not going to sit here and think, oh man, I'm a failure. I'm a horrible failure. I did not get the white picket fence, the college education. What a loser, right? That is the mindset that is a preset into you while you go through these systems.
Yeah. Yep, they
So
they build the American dream in your mind
so here's
so that you can
here's
buy that.
this is
Yeah.
the Hosenlern, the castle, right? So I'm gonna exit because there was one place. Right? This is maybe I'm jumping out a little too early, but the Rothschild, they created the banking system, right? So I
Yeah,
found
they
a list
also
of
created
all
they also helped create the modern day education. They pay for all the school
they,
books.
they
They
do.
make them all. Yeah.
Right. So I found this list of loans. Right? So here's the dynasty, the Prussian dynasty, the actual family name. Two different versions. The Hesse and the Hamburg and the Habsburgs, they're all the same dynasty. To me, I'm sorry, but they're the same dynasty. And here's loans for $1.75 million, 4.5 million, 200. This is back in 1829, 1830, 1831.
Yeah, that's like
Right.
30 million today, 40 million, probably even
So
more.
back to the slides here. This is the castle. They were the Prussian dynasty. They were the controllers. Here's that castle. The Rothschilds, right? Wait, all right. So this castle is in Frankfurt, Germany. What we know as Frankfurt now. All right, the Rothschilds, Frankfurt on the name, Stamelhaus. It was one of their original names and it meant Frankfurt on the Main. All right. Um, the Rothschilds family started in a Jewish slum in Frankfurt, Germany. The earliest notice of a member in the family given of burial records of Frankfurt, Moses Rothschild in 1550, whose daughter Esther died in 1608. Members of the same family are mentioned at Worms, Germany, in the 17th century as rabbis.
Yeah, they like run Israel.
Okay.
Oh, whoops! I said the forbidden word. Shoot. Well, there's only one. So
But it's true. And here's a picture of the slum they came from, right? They still own this in Frankfurt because it's like a personal museum to where they came from. So I want to think about the list of loans. So if they came from a slum in Frankfurt and they wound up becoming so wealthy, they were loaning millions to that castle on top of the hill in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So to me, that narrative does not jive. To me, that's telling me it's the same family, same dynasty. All right. So
Yeah.
here's the Rothschilds. Same. The Hohenzollern family. I'm gonna figure out how to pronounce that name correctly, and I'll say it a lot.
I told you, just gotta yell it. You gotta say it like a mad German. Yeah. Hosensalat.
Hohenzollern.
There you
I think you're right.
go. That's good.
All right. So these are two different families. They're the same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Because this family, who started our general education system, originated from Rhineland in Germany. Rhineland is just a town anywhere along the Rhine River, really. And Frankfurt is pretty close. Huh? Same family. All in
Yeah.
the same. So, with that said, and like I said, it's confusing to me. In 1829, the Rothschilds are lending that family $260,000 personally, and then the Prussian Empire, 4,500,000, and the list goes on to all these different families and countries. Oh, here's Hanover. All right, they're all the same. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, all that said, you know, we've we were talking about one of your last videos about where rockets go, right?
Oh yeah, Point Nemo. Yeah.
We've mentioned this high frequency active aerial research program quite a bit, which started out as just the government thing, but now they claim that it's under a University of Alaska, University of Alaska Fairbanks.
Oh, we're just gonna stash this under here real quick.
You see what I'm saying? Okay, so with everything I just told you,
Yeah.
who really controls this? Who really?
It's just a
dictates this?
college. These are just college kids, man. It's no
College
big
of
deal.
Alaska. Silly.
Yeah. Once you go to school and get your high school diploma, you can go into college.
So, but here, Harp is under, has by University of Alaska, but also Stanford, Penn State, Boston, Dartmouth, Cornell, University of Maryland, University of Massachusetts, MIT, University of California, Los Angeles, Clemson University, and the University of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
All those secret society universities, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so it is, yeah. And then what they have under here is the last 3 or 4 years when they're announcing they're doing a research campaign.
What
What
are
are
they
they doing?
researching? Yeah.
Campaign. What are they doing? Well, they make it sound like it's something super sophisticated, but it's actually NASA, and they're shooting off things called sounding rockets. Because when they, transmit into the stratosphere, they're creating these strange lights. These sounding rockets go high up into the stratosphere and create loud sounds, which then they create a frequency. It's a blah blah blah.
Yeah.
They create the Ouroboros, and they've been doing it, it says here, for 40 years. And this year they launched 18 sounding rockets.
Of course. Got
In a
your
lifetime
666
of
and your 88.
1,500.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Of course it is.
So, and with that said, and thinking of what was it? Circle? No, not Circle. the Nemo there.
Oh, Point Nemo.
Point
That's all
Nemo.
right. I thought it was Nemo Circle too. I was looking it up that way. Yeah, no,
Point.
it's Point
Yeah.
Nemo.
No,
Yeah.
where do all these rockets go, right? Exactly. So all these remarkably different families that come from a dynasty that helped create all these remarkably different colleges. They all want to convince you that our freedom is leaving the planet, right?
Yeah.
Where are they going to go? You're going to
To
go into the ground.
Mars. Yeah.
They're really going to go into
Oh,
the
where are
ground.
they going? Yeah, they're going to
Yeah.
Mars. We're going to Mars. They're going underground.
Right. So we've talked a few times about. I think I've talked about my personal experience with finding a complex in Kansas City, and all
the
these
caves. Yeah. Dude.
Yeah. So I happened to be talking to somebody last Friday, and the conversation developed into, the amount, the size, the scale of what's under all of us, the whole country. And then Jay sent me a video of a truck driver entering a facility not too far from the one I found, and it just kind of blew my mind a little. God is awesome.
Yeah. Dude, I've been getting all kinds of things popping up on my YouTube now. All kinds of these tunnels in all different states. It's huge.
Huge. Yeah.
Dude, they're like cities, bro.
Huge cities. And they are intertwiningly connected, like highway systems. Okay.
It's crazy under there, yeah.
So this is, I got a bigger blown up. All right. This is called Inhabitat. This article talks about a global subway. In 2003, Mark Ovenden designed the World Metro Map, which showed what the globe might look like if major cities were connected through underground railways. You don't create a map under what it could look like. Right? Think about how far technology has advanced in the last 5 years. This guy was hypothetically coming up with a theory of what it may look like if we could do that in 2003. Right. This is a globe, a map, United States, North America, South America, Africa. The whole thing's connected, underground, urban rail system.
I'll bet you they already got that.
I already do, because this is the map operating under construction and planned 2008.
Yeah. Yeah. In the new Godzilla movie, right? They went 33 floors underground. It was Godzilla versus King Kong, I think. They went like 33 floors underground, and they got in this little train. And it was like this little thing that was like got put inside of this magnet. You could see it like come up off the ground when the magnet's charged. And then just shot it all the way to like Hong Kong from New York City. In like no time it flat, man.
Yeah.
I was like, that they got that for sure.
They definitely do. I mean, I know in every ounce of my being that from Maine to Las Vegas, Area 51, there's multiple cities and highway infrastructure connecting it all.
Yeah, look how they write loop.
Isn't that crazy?
They got your little Ouroboros in there, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and then already, right? So Virgin Mobile, they are Hyperloop One. That's the company that creates the tubes and the trains.
Wow.
And where's their first Hyperloop? Massachusetts.
Yeah, where all that started, right? That's where that whole system came in.
Exactly.
Plymouth Rock, man.
It's just coincidence.
Yeah, of course.
So So we got a question. They can tunnel and burn in the solid rock structure. Yeah, true. They can. Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they can melt rock. They can do whatever they need to do.
And it's while we're up here on the surface arguing about who's smarter than the other college educated, who's who you're when you're in your car. All right, it goes beyond just judging each other by did you go to 12th grade? Did you drop out?
Yeah.
Did you go to Yale? You're
Got your
driving
GED?
your car and
Yeah.
oh, I gotta go to work. I gotta get my mail today. I gotta go pay my bills. And look at that Beamer. I'm a loser. That's the
Yeah.
same I'm talking about. It's all preset into all of us. And the whole time we're bumping around randomly and coincidences on the surface, there's a whole world under us.
Oh, for sure, man. Journey to the center of the earth, right? The
Absolutely.
Bible said that Cain was going to be a vagabond in the earth. Not on the
Yeah.
earth, in the earth.
And he is. It is.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, what would Virgin Mobile want with creating trains and tubes?
Right. Aren't they supposed to be like air power? Right?
That's what I thought.
Mobility. Oh, I guess if you think
Same
of
thing.
mobility, yeah.
For Mr. Musk there with X. Is X everything? He's got a whole boring system. He's creating his own boring, huge tunnels under our country to have autonomous cars driving you around.
He's like shooting things in the sky, shooting things underground. Like, he's like, oh, I just like shooting stuff.
And then the whole time you're distracted by preset concepts or constructs in your head, judging yourself, putting yourself in condemnation, you know? And then the time you're thinking, I'm alone and there's no other answer. We're all in this. And it's not what God created, you know? So, well, look at that.
Yeah,
We made
man.
it past it. Shut us off.
Yeah, I haven't got a warning, dude. I don't know why. That was really strange. Maybe they were like, "Oh, people hate this" or something. Sometimes, they'll pilot something and people will complain. They'll be like, "Oh, we better just stop doing this." I was like, I thought it was happening because I think what they were trying to do is get me. I get this a lot with social media when I used to use it. Like, places always try to get me to send them my name or my ID or my credit card with my name on it, or like I stopped using Facebook like 12 years ago because
Same.
one day they wouldn't let me log on to my account. They asked me to send them a picture of my photo ID front and back or I couldn't get back on my account. So I was like, keep it. I'm done with Facebook. Well, I used to have an account for YouTube. And then because I hated all the ads. And I like to listen to it at work, so I don't like to have to keep skipping, especially now with the half an hour commercials. So it's like they canceled my account, and I tried to sign back up, and they want me to send them my ID. And I'm like, dude, no. So I was like, and then this thing popped up. I'm like, man, they're just really trying to connect this face with this email or that name. Like, it's like you could see that the it's closing in on us, right? It's coming for us. You can tell because they're trying to. This is why, and I'll just tell everybody right now, this is why two-factor authentication, don't use that. Make up a good password and forget about two-factor authentication. Because what they're doing is they're getting you to connect your phone to your email, to your computer, to your TV at home, to everything. Right. They want you to have two factors. Oh, it's more secure. It's no more secure. It's probably less secure.
What?
And it connects everything together like a little mesh. So they're like, oh, this is their devices they own. So we can watch them all the time now. Get a Ring doorbell, by the way. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, we'd like to know the layout of your house. So can you get one of those little Zumba vacuum cleaners to just cruise around? You know, like, oh my goodness, man.
And
So
what's
bad.
super scary is the face recognition now, and you could wear a mask, whether it's just your half a mask or a stupid Joker mask. They can
Yeah.
tell who you are, and um, I've had people say that I used to be a contact, and they'll get a picture of my son, and they'll ask, "Hey, man, you used to know Franz. Do you still know him? Do you want to add him?" I'm like, "It's a child. He looks a lot like me, but I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
that's not me, and don't add him, and don't." I'm like, if I
Dude,
don't personally talk to you and put you in my phone,
yeah.
chances are you're never going to get a hold of me.
Yeah,
Just
right. Yeah,
that's
man,
just too much.
I hit screen call. You know, everybody hangs up on that thing. I'm like, sweet, I don't have to talk to nobody. They got these new IR lights, bro. Right, that you can clip on your hat. It's like it's infrared lights. So the cameras, you just look like a white spot to
Oh
all
wow, really?
cameras. Yeah, yeah, they can't pick up your face, which is pretty awesome, dude.
Hmm.
So hopefully they make them more convenient to wear. I mean, the ones I was seeing, this guy's like, they're like, "Hey, you gotta have a big battery and stuff." It's like,
Yeah.
but that's a good idea, man. Right? They should have, yeah, yeah, exactly. They should have those on everything because then that would it makes your face light up. You like can't even see your face with it on. It was amazing, and you can't see the light. Like if you were wearing it, I couldn't even see it. But the camera, that's all it can see. Because it's like beaming it in. It's like that infrared light. It's crazy. Yeah, man. I'm going to get about 100 of those things, I think. I'm going to put them all over my body. Oh, it's like this bulb walking down the street.
Uh, all right. Well, Jay, thank you. Thank you for having me again. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, dude. It's always a pleasure to have you on, brother. It's good
Everybody
times, man.
listening or tuning in to watch or going to watch later, thank you.
Yeah, it was a good turnout tonight. A lot of conversation in the chat room. Good crew of people watching. It's good.
Always great to be here. I appreciate everybody listens, even if you tune in later on and listen. I've been finding a need to get this out, to do this, and it's
Yeah.
just awesome. Glory to God. So,
Amen to that.
so everybody out there, thank you for tuning in. Stay vigilant, and God bless you all.
You too, brother. Love you. Have a good night. God bless. All right, all. That ends this episode of Lifting the Veil. Thank you all for coming. Thank you guys for chatting it up in the chat room with each other and keeping it nice and peaceful. That's how we like to do it here. Hope you all glean from this video. It's always a pleasure having Franz on here. He's real good at diving into these abstract things and bringing them forth to make them make sense to us. So I really enjoy having him on. What a great blessing it's been. He's been doing shows with me for, I think, over a year now. So it's been good. I always love having him, and I'm glad you guys are coming on. I'm glad that this show is catching on and that he's getting some love from you guys. So thank you very much. I appreciate all of you, and I'm really glad you tuned in. So, having said that, hope you all take care. Have a wonderful night, and God bless you all.